DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. We're joined now by Scott Garrard, Mountain West Conference Media Day. Scotty G, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
You flying solo? PK taking the rest of the week off?
Yeah, Scotty, right. I drove back, and I'm sitting right here in the studio.
Look at you, Mr. Cal Ripken Iron Man.
That a kid. There you go.
Let me tell you, you don't get to the level I got to by slacking. Let me tell you what happened when I was 22 years old, buddy. I'm just kidding.
All right, Scott, we have serious business to get to.
Oh, boy.
What is going on at Utah State University? Can you shed any light? Multiple administrators out, the football coaches out, and that happens in college sports, but it doesn't usually happen in July. There's a season coming, and it's turmoil. I got a star player with some great quotes here. Ike Larson is and he gets right to it. I'm turning down money to stay here, and this happens? He's telling the truth, I suspect.
Yep. Certainly not happy, certainly not pleased. And, look, you get your coach who you bleed, sweat, and all that stuff for, and then your world gets turned upside down. And the thing that I think is disappointing in talking to Ike and Spencer Petras, the quarterback that's also here at Mountain West Conference Media Day, they know they have a really good team. And honestly, they do. Like, when you look talent-wise, this is probably a more talented team than the 2021 team that won the Mountain West Conference in Blake's first year. I firmly believe they've got more talent on this team than that team did. Now, their schedule isn't quite as easy as it was back in 2021, but this is a really good team that Blake had coming back, and they had an opportunity to be really good, and they still have an opportunity to be really good. But the question now is, what does this do to that locker room? What now? There's the Tuesday is going to be your big day, and that's the day you want to look at is next Tuesday, because that's when the 14-day grievance period ends, and so that's when they can officially fire Blake Anderson. And that's when the transfer portal will officially open up for these players because under NCAA rules, when a coach gets dismissed, the portal will open up for 30 days for that individual team. And so it is not opened up yet. It will probably on that Tuesday, and that's when these guys are going to have some options. And if you're Ike Larson, if you're Jalen Royals, if you're some of these guys that Blake fought like crazy to find a way to keep in Logan, then the Barbarians are going to be at the gate again, and for good reason, and deservedly so. And so that's going to be the day you're going to look at in terms of if this team can be held in check. And it's going to be a good question. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of questions you're going to ask me here where I might just say I have no idea what's going to happen. This is unprecedented. We don't know what this is going to look like. I know that this is not obviously a popular decision that happened in that locker room. There's a lot of hurt, upset players that are not happy, that are not particularly pleased. It's also an administration that got turned upside down. And yeah, this is not. These aren't good times in Logan right now.
And also, too, a guy like Jerry Bovee, who we've all known and liked for many, many years, he got caught up in it. And Amy Crosby, I think, was some type of compliance lady.
Senior women's administrator.
Utah State, I guess you can call her lifer. These are people that were Utah State Aggies through and through. So the perception is the new AD from out of state's coming in and trying to clean house. Is that fair?
I think – I don't know. Again, sorry. But with the issues that Utah State has been dealing with over the years in terms of Title IX and sexual assault issues that have happened, I don't think this is a one-time thing. I think this is a culmination of many things in terms of the Department of Justice, in terms of the Board of Trustees, in terms of the State Board of Education. I think there's a lot of people that had some say in this or some recommendations in this. I don't know if it's quite as simplistic as the athletic director wanting to make a broad move on a bunch of individuals. If that was the case, I think that happens in a December or January. I think there are some other elements certainly in play here. That's me guessing, as speculating. It may be as simple as an athletic director wanting to make moves, but it just doesn't seem like that would be a opportune time to do that in July as opposed to December or January.
You're probably not going to be able to answer this, Scotty, but I'm just going to throw it out there anyway. You may just agree with me that you got the same questions I've got. I don't personally hang out with Jerry Bovee. Okay, he and I haven't golfed together or anything like that. But professionally, I knew him when he was at the Utah High School Activities Association. I think he went to Utah State then for a while, and I was out of touch with him for a while. But he's Weber State's AD, and I know him. And now at Utah State, I know him again. And I have a hard time believing that he would have messed up reporting these incidents. He crosses too many T's and he dots too many I's. Maybe he did. People make mistakes, right? But to me, that is just stunning that he would do that. And for people who think he's protecting a coach, no, I don't believe that. I think he and the coach were at odds. I think all three of I can't speak to Amy. I don't know about that. But as far as the AD and Jerry and the football coach, I don't think any of the three of them were on the same page. I don't think any of the three of them would have been covering for each other. There was enough conflict there. It would have been, too bad. You really messed that up. Bye-bye. And so now at the same time, I can't believe the school would be letting him go if they knew he'd done the right thing. I can't believe he doesn't have a paper trail. There's something in here I don't get. It does not make sense on the surface.
Well, and let me be the first to admit here, I am completely biased when it comes to Jerry Bovee. Jerry's been not only like you, a friend and a confidant for nearly 2 decades. I've known Jerry, and you guys have known Jerry very closely as well. And I agree 100%. I cannot imagine a world in which Jerry Bovee would turn a blind eye to not turning something in or not doing things the right way when it comes to Title IX, when it comes to sexual assault or domestic violence or anything along those lines. I don't see a world in which that exists. And on the flip side, too, as you mentioned, I don't
How would the school lawyers mess that up? How would they mess that up?
I know, that's my point. And on the other side, I don't see how the school could say, we're just going to get rid of the guy or overlook something that Jerry made a mistake on. I'm telling you, on Tuesday is going to be a huge day at Utah State because not only as that grievance period ends, I also believe that you'll see the investigative report that was that should be released that they're basing a lot of this on. And I think that is when there's already been a ton of grammar requests. It may actually leak out before then. But I think Tuesday is going to be your day where we'll all get some eyes on this investigative report from this outside legal firm that came in and did a deep dive inside the athletic department and inside this individual incident that we'll be able to look at and be able to say, okay, this is what they found. These are the mistakes that were made, and this is the report in which the athletic director, Diana Sabo, and the administration at Utah State decided to make these moves and decided to make these decisions. So I can't wait to get my eyes on that report. I can't wait to see it because there's both sides to this. It just doesn't make sense. I'm with you. Everything you're saying, DJ, is 100%. I am with you 100% on this. None of this makes any sense to me.
The bottom line for all these people who are dismissed, they're not coming back.
Hard pressed to believe so, yeah. I can't imagine there's a world that exists in.
All right, so the football side of this, they were picked 7th, but again, it comes down to Tuesday and who stays and who leaves. They could be pretty good, and they could stick together and have a chip on their shoulder and have a great season, but there's also a really good chance that key players leave. Maybe not a lot of players because I don't know if there's a lot of scholarships available out there, but there's a few scholarships out there, and a few key players leave, and then the Aggie fan just has to get through this season at that point.
Yeah, that could be the case. Although, this late in the game, I just don't know if there'll be a huge mass exodus There could be, and it wouldn't surprise me. But with camp starting here in 2 or 3 weeks, I just don't know if there's a situation where these players would be like, you know what, I'm going to jump and I'm going to go somewhere else. It's just so late in the game to try to learn a new system and work your way into a depth chart. It's got to be really, really difficult to do. And your best bet might be just to stay put, play out the season, and then look to the transfer portal at the end of the year. But maybe that's just me getting my hopes up that this team stays intact because I think they have a chance to be really good, and I'm convincing myself that. But I have talked to a couple of players where they feel like the locker room for the most part will stay in place. Now, it only takes, you know how it goes, it only takes one, two or three guys to go, and then all of a sudden it snowballs, and then everybody goes. So, again, I would keep an eye on 2 guys, Ike Larson and Jalen Royals. Those are your 2 really key players on this team that turned down, and Ike's right, both of them turned down significant money to play for Blake Anderson. And if those 2 leave, then you might see the snowball effect, and then it could get really ugly.
Conference-wide, is it just default, pick Boise State?
Yeah, it's like USC in the Pac-12. You just show up and you give Boise the nod. Boise's got question marks at a couple of key positions, but obviously they're always talented. Fresno's good. The one that's been kind of fun to see them turn things around is UNLV. Yeah. And so UNLV has a chance. They got first place votes, and
right, saw that.
They've got some dynamic playmakers on that team, and they finally started to figure some things out, and they very well could be your champion this year.
They were 9-2 last year, and then finished 9-5. But one of the teams they couldn't handle was San Jose. They obviously had the coaching change, and then you can dismiss Boise State, but Boise State just worked them.
Oh yeah.
So have they closed that gap, you think?
Yeah, I think so. And I do think that, Boise had that weird situation there at the end of the year where they went with their interim coach and they all rallied around him and got him the job. And I wonder how sustainable that's going to be for them. So they've got situations at quarterback. They got to get that situation settled in, but they'll always be talented. They'll always have, they'll always be right there. But UNLV, I think, could very well be the team to beat.
Vegas, baby. That would be really cool if they did that.
Yeah.
New kids on the block, so to speak. I mean, they've been waiting for this for a long time, and they always said if they got a better stadium, maybe that could help. Well, they got a better stadium. Do you think it's helped?
I think it certainly has. And I think that they've got, the one thing that's been interesting, too, is they've got, I can't remember the name of the family. They're tied in with the MMA, but they poured a ton of money into basketball, and they finally have got them to pour some money into football in terms of NIL. So, in talking to some of the media members down there, they're like, yeah, we're finally putting money into NIL. All of it's been going into basketball over the last couple of years, but now they've peeled a little bit of that way into the football ranks, and so they feel like they were able to hold on to a couple of key players, get them back for another year, and off they go. So we'll see.
Is that the Fertitta family you're referring to?
Yes, thank you.
How do you say that name?
Fertitta. Thank you. I'm glad you drove back.
I would have gone for I would have gone for Tita, but to each their own.
Well, I honestly didn't know. Yak told me, and I just went with it.
You're glad I drove back.
Yeah, I am. I'm glad you drove back. So you could do that.
He could have done that via remote.
He probably could have. He could have. Yeah.
But I wanted to be with you.
Cool. I'm glad.
And we're all better off for it.
Right?
Yeah.
There you go, Scotty.
Oh, my gosh.
All right.
And he's in Vegas, right?
You got
Scotty?
Scotty's in Vegas.
I mean, the titillation in Vegas is just through the roof.
Okay. All right. I may not be your boss anymore, but you still make me nervous.
I'm just over here minding my own business.
Oh, I know.
Another TV deal. First Fox, then CBS Sports Network, now True TV.
There's TNT family in the mix.
There's no limit to the Mountain West reach. Everybody wants to televise football. Nobody's watching anything else on Saturday, so I better go find whatever football game I can and slap it on whatever TV network I own /work for.
Oh, yeah.
That's the bottom line right there. Does that get all the Aggie games distributed, or will they still end up having a local TV deal?
I think there's 1 or 2 games that I think are still up for grabs.
Okay.
I'm not sure on that one.
All
Way
right.
to put me on the spot there.
Well, it's probably still be, it may still be getting sorted out. You may not be able to know yet.
All I know is that they'll all be on 1280 a.m.
There you go.
They'll all be on radio. I don't care about TV.
So you got football.
Just gather around the radio, folks.
Football media day continues. They have a 2-dayer, right?
Yeah, so yesterday was all about the players. Today is about the coaches. So let's saddle up not only to, and again, Nate Dreiling, who is the interim head coach. And, in fact, he is expected to join us, and I'll probably jump on with him at about 8 a.m. here, or, 9 a.m. your time. So here in about 15 minutes, I might take over your show for a little bit and talk to the interim coach and try to figure out what's going on in his brain and how he's trying to figure things out. So you'll hear from him coming up here in just a second. And then an old familiar face, Bronco Mendenhall, expected to join us a little bit later on today, too.
Excellent.
You want me to say hi to him for you guys?
Please do.
Yeah, big time.
Absolutely.
I loved covering Bronco.
He came on our show when he was in Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was good to us. With Nate, I am curious, if they lose a coach, can they hire one, or is it just spreading more work onto people who are already overworked?
I will ask that.
That would be great.
Good
Thank
question.
you. All right.
Yep.
All right, Scotty, we'll hear from you about 10 or 15 minutes when you get coach.
All right, sounds good.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
DJ and PK, if we're going to do that, we better take a break. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, The Zone.